Hi everybody, this is Methyl Kaiju here, and today I'm going to talk about some new Godzilla 2014 information. This time it is about a new sneak peek, or more like a look at one of the Muto creatures. And it is actually in toy form. So it's not, sci-fi, or, not sci-fi, CGI form. It's, of a toy form. So yeah, on GodzillaMovies.com. I knew about this yesterday, so thank you to all those people who still posted comments on my other videos talking about this information. Thank you, but I knew it yesterday, but still thank you for being aware of me. But anyways, so yeah, but it's overall very cool Muto creature, and it looks like the theory of the rodent being Godzilla 2014 is definitely canceled. Definitely canceled, because this is possibly the flying Muto. Why do I think this is the flying Muto? Well, okay, first of all, I'm going to just talk about the package and all this nice stuff, and also the article here that I'll leave. This article is in the link in the description below. So yeah, let me read what it says here in the article first. So it's called New Godzilla 2014 Toy Images Reveal First Look at Muto Monster. And it says, a new image of another Godzilla 2014 toy has released the first actual look at one of the Muto monsters. The pack is called the Destruction Pack and features a figure of the new Godzilla as well as one of the Muto monsters. This one in particular looks very strange with black/red skin color. You can view the images below. Thanks to John Gertie, or I don't know how you say that, pronounce that, in the Godzilla 2014 forums, and then you see about 3 pictures. And then it says, expect some clear shots of the Muto to surface online tomorrow. Tomorrow's today. So, I actually read this before this was even a thread. I actually knew about this before it was even a thread here on GodzillaMovies.com. Also remember that these are children toys and may not offer a very detailed look at what the Muto will actually look like. As we get further into this month, new images should be revealed. Let us know what you think about the look of this Muto by commenting below. And yeah, the embargo or the shipping is going to end on March 17th, so that's pretty cool. So this is actually official. I'm not exactly sure how this person actually retrieved this big figure or destruction pack sets, but overall, it's a kid's toy. It looks like these are kind of small figures, maybe around not 6 inches, maybe around 3 inches or 4 inches, around those. And it looks very cool. It looks very cool, and we see Godzilla 2014's design. We have seen it already a bunch of times. And also that supposedly fake Godzilla banner or poster, the one that has the photoshopped head, is actually real and is in this box. This is actually the destruction pack, and it has the bridge. Looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's bluish color, so I'm not exactly sure. A little helicopter and some buildings that you can destroy. And we have Godzilla, as I mentioned, and also we have the Muto. Now, as I said, I think this is the flying Muto, not the regular small Muto, because, as we know from the people who saw the 2013 Comic-Con trailer, the Muto, eight-legged Muto, are tiny compared to Godzilla. They may be the size of his foot or something, but this is almost the size of Godzilla, if not nearly the size of Godzilla, or not, the same height. So this is actually, I think this is the wing Muto. So yeah, rodent, no rodent in this film. No rodent. No rodent at all. No rodent. I'm sorry guys, but there's not going to be any Toho monsters. I believe there's not going to be any Toho monsters, so I don't think there's going to be a rodent here. I don't think there's going to be a rodent. But this, okay, now let me just describe. First, let me describe the Godzilla, which we have all seen before. It has a charcoal, a grayish color with a, what can I say, kind of like a caramel bony paint brush on the chest area. And the rest is grayish, and you see his eyes and his stump feet. And then the bridge, as I mentioned, is blue, and it has a little helicopter. So this is actually proof that the flying Muto that we saw in the trailer actually destroyed the bridge. Possibly. Or maybe Godzilla and the flying Muto had a fight during the Golden Gate Bridge attack. Maybe, possibly. And now let's get into the Muto, or as I think, it's the flying Muto. Now, this Muto looks very similar to that very super quick scene in the trailer where this giant, you know, insect-like arm comes out of nowhere and it shoots this like red thing, like I don't know, sonic wave possibly. You know, just giant claw. Like whenever Godzilla is roaring and it's like the end of the trailer after the scene with the flares, and that's when we see it like a giant claw coming, and you know, it stomps on the ground with all these soldiers around them. It looks super similar, so that means that claw is most likely a flying Muto, in which I think it's a flying Muto, because if you see on the second image, I also forgot to mention that this set also contains the boats and a helicopter. I think I already mentioned the helicopter, but not the boats. But the claw, it looks red, just like the scene in the trailer. So this is most likely a flying Muto, and that scene in the trailer is most likely a flying Muto as well. And you know, overall, very cool. It kind of resembles Kamacuras, Kumonga a tiny bit, barely anything. More like Cloverfield and Kamacuras mixed together, and also Gigan. I think this is supposed to be like a future, I mean not future, like a present like interpretation of Gigan, kind of. But it also makes a little bit with Cloverfield, so you know, pretty cool. But you know, it actually, you know, I think it's like a mixture between those two, Cloverfield and Gigan. So you know, it's actually pretty good mix. But I wonder how the 8-legged Muto look like. But at least we got to see one of his opponents. And you know, I think this is a flying Muto. I could possibly be wrong. This is actually the 8-legged Muto, and the flying Muto is like super, like way bigger. I mean, I know you can't see the wings, but you see in the pack itself, you see some little red stuff like coming out of its arms. So I think those might possibly be the wings, maybe, or if not, they're just, you know, just accessories or something. But you know, maybe this is like Otachi. Like, if you don't know what Otachi is the Pacific Rim kaiju that came out on Pacific Rim, and it also lastly came out in Pacific Rim. So you know, it only came out in one film. But Otachi is kind of like this monster, except it's not an insectoid, it's like a lizard. And, well, if you look at Otachi in Google Images, you'll see just Otachi is a giant iguana, like literally a giant iguana. But then, there's a surprise in the almost nearly the end of the fight, where Otachi, you know, spreads wings out of her arms and then flies to the sky. So this is also possibly the case here with this, you know, flying Muto, if this is even flying Muto. So, you know, whatever, so, you know, like this, like, maybe it's like hiding the wings, kind of, or, you know, like, for example, Gigan. Now, you know, it has those protrusions in the back. Well, you know, at first you won't think that's you know, wings. You'll maybe think just like a protrusion, or maybe just something for, you know, to look more cool or something, you know. But then you'll know that's actually part of the design, and it actually is useful for flying. Now, it could be the same exact thing, where, you know, it looks like it doesn't have any wings, but there's a certain parts of his body, or its body, because I don't even know what gender it is. You know, it could be a queen, but I don't know. But, you know, it could be part of its body where it actually, you know, has the ability to move up in the sky or fly. Like maybe the little arms, I don't know. They have I really do not know, but just speculation. But I think this is a flying Muto. I don't think this is Muto. I think this is the flying Muto, the main opponent. So, you know, overall, very awesome. It looks like you see a Gatorade box in the background. It looks like somebody already owns this. I'm not exactly sure how, like, who even retrieved this or how they retrieved it yet. But it says that it's confirmed, so, you know, not exactly sure. So, you know, but, you know, we still have to find out, you know, later in the film. So, as I mentioned, I believe this is a flying Muto. Ronin is out of the question now, like, definitely. In the beginning, I didn't thought it was a, you know, a Toho monster. Sorry, guys, if you believe there was a Toho monster, but I didn't believe there was a Toho monster since, I don't know, January. But, you know, sorry, guys, but anyways, and for this video, I'm going to subscribe, like, and comment. I'll leave this article as a link in the description below for you can check it out, and also the pictures, because I didn't reveal the pictures here, because copyrights, you know, all that crazy stuff. And also, toys to come out March 17th, so go ahead and go to your local Toys R Us or local store, toy store, for to retrieve these awesome Godzilla 2014 figures, and, you know, possibly anything else that you like I don't know, if you're a girl, then Barbie, or, you know, whatever you want. But definitely pick the Godzilla 2014 figures. You know, I haven't experienced them or, you know, hold them in my hands yet. But, you know, these look like super childish, like maybe like 5 to 7 years old or something. But, you know, and I'm older than that. But I'm going to definitely retrieve these figures. Because, you know, they're Godzilla, and I'll definitely, you know, like to see the Muto in toy form at least. So, and that was actually a smart move that Legendary Warner Brothers kind of released a little peek of the Muto in the trailer, instead of releasing the design in a toy, which will be pretty weird if they actually release the Muto by toy and not by the film itself or the trailer, which is pretty good. They actually did that. I mean, they didn't do that, what I just mentioned. They did, you know, they revealed a little peek of the Muto, and then right here they show the whole Muto, but, you know, obvious that we kind of already knew what they looked like, kind of, not too much, but then with this we know, you know, better that Rodent's not going to be in the film. You know, it possibly has wings. Yeah, it has the skin texture, how big it is, and all this nice stuff. So anyways, this is the end for this video. As I mentioned, remember to subscribe, like, and comment. This is Muto Kaiju, signing out.